after speaking about the megatrend smart city and the bottom-up smartness approach to it in the last two meetups, today we want to introduce to you the 6 different categories of the smart city. There is smart mobility, smart economy, smart environment, smart people, which is our special focus, smart living, and what we will tackle today, smart governance. Because for the smart city, you also have to rethink democracy. And the smart governance approach, you see, it's about using technology, community leadership, and for improving the democratic process. The only problem is that they lack ideas to put this whole thing into action. And this is why we do this meetup today. At first, we will have an input by Martin Wittau, who's sitting here. A few words about him. He is the Vice President of the German Federal Association for Sustainability. He is involved in politics for 3 decades, actually. And he also has the big vision to make Berlin the capital of sustainability in Europe by the year of 2045. So please, give a little hand. Martin.
Yeah, 45 is thank you for the introduction. 45 is, we didn't want to focus on numbers like 30, 40, 50, but 45, hello. And because it's it's a special date also for Berliners, because it's 100 years after the World War II ended, where a new era began, and this is why the vision is of 2045, 100 years after World War II, and probably there's a new era beginning at this moment. The topic today is smart governance and Kiezmanagement. This is a question, especially in Berlin, is really on the list, because we have seen some basic democracy tendencies in the year 2000. When was it? 14, I think, when the decision over the Tempelhofer Field came up, came over the established politics and put them into a big wave of non-doing and hiding themselves. And what we, especially in Berlin, face is the fact that politics doesn't understand what this means for them, because they don't understand people in Berlin, and probably they understand that there's a lot of nations here in Berlin, but not at all, because the other nations have no right to vote, and this is what counts in politics, only the right to vote, which is with a direct impact to their jobs. And just an example for this, the Tempelhof Airfield decision, about 400,000 people couldn't vote on Tempelhof Airfield because of their foreign passes and passports, and this is the reason why democracy has to be thought in a new way. What does it mean? Not to invent new democratic tools or democratic tools, probably, but not democracy as itself, because this worked for about 2,000 years or longer, but having new tools in a smart city, and this was so much smartness now that I'm afraid that the word smart it becomes the same meaning than sustainability in some cases. So I have prepared 2 theses, and please press the button.
Mm-hmm.
People want to belong. This is one thesis. This is common sense, I think, because somebody wants to belong to a group or an initiative or to somebody else. This is what we call a basic need as well. And I've listed some requirements for being involved in a group or an initiative. And this is on both sides the willingness to involve, to let people in the group, and the willingness of an individual to go into a group. There's some Zarathustra's around us probably, but this is not a normal human being and normal behavior. Opportunities must be established to be involved in the group, and some points of access and letting access happen. Then, the next point is information, experience, and knowledge. This is normally common as an educated people. We have knowledge, of course, and knowledge in my thinking is the sum of information and experience, not only the theoretical aspects but also the practical aspects. And last but not least, the requirement for belong is the chance of success. If I don't see a chance of success of my input or being acknowledged, being aware, this makes no sense to involve. And this is my thesis one. The next thesis is more complex the system is, the bigger it is, the less is the direct empathy and of course the responsibility. The responsibility I'm aware for other people or for myself as well. We have developed over the last couple of years. We have had a project on Temple of Airfield, so we are very experienced in this topic and in this special topic. And during this process, we developed what we call a responsive circle. In fact, you could take it as a circle that what all processes are running. It all starts with willingness. You have to be willing for something, for somebody to start the processes. In fact, the next is perception. This is something far at the horizon, and you perceive something, but you don't know exactly what it is. You don't see it directly. It's a bit unsharp, and the next step is the awareness about. It comes closer. The problem comes closer. The topic comes closer to us. We have some more details in it, and if it's near to us, we understand what we see, and probably understand what is necessary to be done. And the next step is knowledge, because we have education, we have own experience during our lifetime, and we have the knowledge that there is something to solve. And this makes no sense until we do not do the last step on this circle, and this is action. In my experience over the last 5 years, we had lots of projects. We were talking to lots of networks who are running the process until the last point, knowledge. And there's a big step to the next one, action. We have here the people from Basic Income, from the German initiative, who started to make a lottery about basic income here. And this is the first, for example, this is the first practical approach to the basic income, to try what it means and what the arguments count after decades, after really much decades of just discussing it. A responsive circle requires responsibility. If I don't have self-responsibility as well, but if I am not willing to take over the responsibility for other people or for my doings, for my acting, this doesn't make a sense, and this will not start into the willingness. And yeah, why does it require responsibility? It's to find what? Just a second. Yes. Okay, responses. So you see the similarity of this couple of letters, and we have to find our answers, and this is why we are existing, I think. Answers for solutions and problems facing us around. So, and responsibility correlates that in a direct way with empathy, and the closer the people or the topics are to my person, I have the empathy, and I have the responsibility to observe them, to watch over them, to handle with it, and this leads to my to the result of my thesis that complexity has to be reduced to boost emphasis. This is in a way the same direction like as relocalization is in grids or in what else in a social way, and to boost democracy in the way that we have to have small areas of decision making to learn about, to get experience, and to have more responsibility for the bigger scene. And yeah, what are the challenges of new democratic issues? This is hi, come in. And this is a challenge I think everybody from you has heard about. Everybody is talking about participation in these days. In Germany since Stuttgart 21 or something like that. Participation. But the German term for participation is not so understood like the English term. There has two meanings, two sides of a medal. This is an active part and this is a passive part. And the passive part means let participate, which is probably used by administration and by politicians and in politics. And the active part, which is more in common at the citizenship, is being an active part, being engage myself in this. Issues, and this means they have two different views on that topic, and what is necessary is to match this topic in a certain way. We have to find out how. Current decision making, of course, this is all over the world, less or more. It comes from top to down. Nothing happens really from the bottom. This was probably sometimes happened in not only even not in Greece. In Greece, democratic processes started from top as well, because only the educated people or the non-slaves had the right to being involved in decision-making processes. And for that reason, and because there's no solution found to solve this, citizens are really demotivated because they don't see the chance of success. This is probably a phrase you even heard, the powers that be do what they want. But what we have all to ask ourselves is, who gives them the power? And this is mostly for God, and de-educated in a way. You know what I mean? Because over the last 30 years, we have a line, a tendency towards being lower and lower educated in a certain way, that we have no idea about self-responsibility. We have only an idea about consumption, and consuming doesn't mean in a certain way that you're responsible. governance is smart if we experience people. And experiencing people could work at best in small areas where a decision has to be done, has to be made. And this is the neighborhood quarters, which I call Kiezmanagement. This one, the neighborhood quarters, the Kiezmanagement, it would make only sense if they have effect. And how could they get effect? This is if they have a path for decision-making processes, that they go into effect, and if they have the funding to work on it, to establish it, to realize it.
But just that you know, we're here to go straight forward from the input to the action mode, and that is now about to find ideas how to start with this smart governance in the Kiez. So therefore we prepared a scenario that Matthew will introduce to you.
Yeah, so it's just a scenario. Imagine that you have seen this ohne Staufenplatz, which is Zickenplatz, called by the Kiez people here. And yeah, it's not that lively. So, and there's a pavilion which used to be a Sudanese restaurant like some years back, but now it's closed. And imagine that the Berliner Senate give us the power and a lot of money to transform this pavilion into a interactive hub.